Welcome to the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast, where we explore some of the truly difficult questions and challenges that parents and their families face every day. Whether it's the sometimes painful process of parenting teens and young adults, navigating relationships with your partner and children, or you discovering your purpose in relationship with yourself, we will bring heartfelt and vulnerable conversations to the table to support and empower you. Our mission is to help you create a lifestyle full of love, passion, adventure, and influence. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast. Oh, my goodness. We are so thrilled to be with you today. And hold on a second. Speaking of thrilling, here she is, the thrilling and magnificent Erin Verdis.
What's up?
There it is. That's the Erin that I love and know.
What's going on?
Oh, and by the way, I'm Chris.
And I'm Erin.
And we're Erin and Chris, and this is the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast. And boy, we are right on the cusp of the holidays.
Oh my gosh.
The week before, right?
Yeah, I did my traditional Christmas inventory this morning. So usually every year about a week before Christmas, I shut my bedroom door. I tell everyone to leave me alone, and I just dump like all my Christmas shopping out of my bed. I make piles. I'm one of those like moms and people that like wants to kind of be fair and make sure everybody's getting an equal amount of things. So I like to see what I have, and that gives me the week to just grab the extra thing or two I might need to get.
Wow.
But I did pretty good this year. I feel I'm pretty much done, and I know Chris is very relieved about that.
You seem really relieved. And so that's one
I
way.
said you are.
Oh, of course. And that's one way to do it, everybody. And then let me just paint a little picture of the other way to do it, which is I'm still shopping. Mm-hmm. I'm not necessarily as organized, but you know what? There's some fun in that too, right?
There is, yeah. There's no real set way to do this. No judgment. I mean, I do see people scrambling on Christmas Eve, and I'm like, you know what? Whatever, good for them.
That might be me this year, so I'm definitely not going to judge. But oh my goodness, we have a pretty exciting topic because this is going to set us up for something bigger that we're going to announce at the end of this podcast. But today's topic is, so Erin and I have been in the personal development space for how many years, babe?
Oh gosh. So I really started my personal growth journey when I was like early 20s.
Yeah.
So 20 something years now for me.
Yeah. And just about the same, maybe a little bit less for me, but just about the same. Mm-hmm. And the reason we say that is because today's topic is all about our absolute favorite, empowering personal development books for parents and young adults. And we're going to share with you some of the books that have inspired us, motivated us, helped us through challenging times, lifted us up, helped us maybe even become the people that we are today.
Chris and I, in our program for teens and young adults, we have a ritual.
Yes.
We talk a lot about rituals on this podcast, but if you're new here, you know, we introduce a lot of different rituals to parents and young adults that we work with. And rituals are just habits that have a lot of intention and purpose behind them. So one of the rituals is, I named it Standing Guard at the Gate of Your Mind.
Ooh.
And I may have gotten that from Tony Robbins. That sounds like something he'd say, doesn't it?
It does, but it also sounds like something Erin Verdis would say as well.
That's true. I may have been his inspiration, but Absolutely. I may have coined the term. But really what that means is we're talking about content. And so we would think, yeah, teens and young adults, that's important, but that's not necessarily true. It's for all of us this day and age. What are we allowing into our minds? What are we scrolling in social media? What kind of movies and shows and music are we allowing in? And then, you know, are we balanced out? It's okay to scroll on Instagram and Facebook, but are we reading books that are filling up our cups and creating some transformations for us and really helping us take a closer look at who we are and what's important to us?
Yeah, I don't think we appreciate, first off, how much negative content that we consume. Mm-hmm. And so taking inventory of that is really important. That's for us parents. That's for our kids. It's just the vast majority is negative. And when you think about what negative content does to you, you really stop and you notice and you pay attention to how it makes you feel. Yeah. Not so good. what it makes you believe or not believe in yourself and the world. You start to compare yourself a lot more to others. Yeah. All of these things that literally hold us back, drag us down, drain our energy and our motivation.
Yeah. And I don't even think it's interesting because I didn't even say like the news, because Chris and I are so far removed from, I'm not saying we don't stay, you're much better about this than I am, stay aware of what's going on in the world. I truly don't look at any news. And even when it shows up in my Facebook feed,
No.
Yeah, I'm like, no. But that too, a lot of people really watch a lot of news and they're very consumed by what's going on in the world. And it's okay to be aware. Yeah. But like Chris said, it's so much negativity that just drags us down, makes us second guess everything, puts us in a fight or flight mode, like a lot of fear. And so what I love to coach on is we create a lot of resources for the young adults we work with, podcasts and influencers and books and music and movies, documentaries that are really empowering and powerful. And so I know Chris said we were going to wait till the end of the podcast, but I
knew you would spill the beans.
We will just spill the beans now. We're going to actually make this a little bit of a series. So every few weeks we plan to bring different types of content to the table in the form of our favorite movies that are like transformative, documentaries, even music, influencers, coaches, podcasts, and all of that. So we're going to do a lot of the work for you and just bring you our favorite content.
And we want to be a resource for positive content. And so we talked about all the effects that negative content has on our brains, our minds, how we feel, our life, what becomes possible or not possible. And so if you flip that coin, and you look at, okay, well, if I start being more intentional about what I'm consuming, what I'm reading, what I'm listening to, what I'm watching, who I'm following, all of these things, and it's positive people, positive messages, that's going to make you feel good. That's going to give you energy. That's going to build up your belief system. It's going to open you up to different possibilities for your future. And that's when I was talking about like some of these personal development books. They're not all of our favorites. I know with Erin, it's some of the more recent ones because she admittedly reads more than I do.
Yeah.
But she's like, yes,
I do.
But it's positive things that we can all start to introduce more intentionally into our lives.
Yeah.
And the difference that can make.
Yeah, and we'll dive in here in just a second. But what I teach is that this content that we don't stop to think about, it wires your brain, and you can rewire your brain. And I know I say that a lot in this podcast, but it's so true. And so as you start introducing more positivity, more personal growth, books, documentaries, movies, all of that, it makes such a difference. So that's where this idea stemmed from. And so Chris and I thought we would start by talking about the first book that we read that was a personal development book that really blew the roof off a little, or really started to open up our minds to this journey of personal growth. So do you want me to go first, Chris?
I would love for you to go first.
Okay, I will go first. So I had to think about it because like Chris said, I've read a lot. And yes, the books I'm going to bring to you today are books really a couple more than this one that I read this past year because I've read so many books. So we'll have to do several episodes to cover a lot of
People are like, hold on.
I know.
Good idea, but not overboard.
Not overboard. So the first book the very, very, very first sort of book I ever read is The Prophet. And I don't want to get into that one because I have to go back. It's almost a really challenging one to touch on. But then that led me to a book called Conversations with God by Neale Donald Welch. And that book, literally, I always say, I remember like it was yesterday, like it fell off a bookshelf into my hands. I was dating somebody at the time that I had dated years and years ago. And he had a lot of books on his bookshelf. And it was on the bottom and I just was scrolling. I wanted something to start reading. And that book, it tumbled out into my hands. I'm not kidding you. So I remember I was modeling in New York City at the time and I went to a job and I was sitting on like some steps outside and I could not put this book down. But this book essentially is, and I know there's several now, I think I read the first 3, but it's just what it sounds like. It's conversations that Neale had with God when he was going through a really dark time in his life. And I was in my very first sort of dark night of the soul at that point, going through my first tough time in my early 20s and looking for answers. Wanted to know, who am I? What am I doing here? Like, I needed answers to my life. And that book just changed everything for me. It opened up my mind to not really just it says conversations with God, it's conversations with a higher power, whatever that is for you. It's conversations with your true, authentic self. At the end of the day, I think that's really what that was about, is having those conversations with yourself that help you stop and really reflect on your life and who you are and where you're going. So that was the first book for me that just, that book just led to one, to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other.
That's how it all starts.
That's how it all starts.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going to talk a little bit about my first personal development book. And it took me a hot second to remember this. But my first book was Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. This was my mid-20s, I believe. And I couldn't remember when I was sitting down to put the show notes together for this episode. I can't remember like why I bought it. I just remember getting it. So something motivated me just to purchase that book, and maybe there's something more there to explore. I think that there is. But I get this book. It's a big book, and I had never read something like that before, and it blew my mind. It put words to my values. It put words to a feeling that I'd had inside me probably since high school of who I thought I was and what I thought I was capable of doing. Tony talks a lot about identity. He talks a lot about the decisions that you make, how those shape your identity. He talks a lot about the meaning that you give to things. And so I grew up in a very small town, and it changed the way that I looked at my current circumstances. And once again, just blew my mind wide open to what was possible for me. And long story short, I do attribute that book to setting me on the journey, because that led to other books, and that led to me really getting into personal development, especially motivation. I did a lot of things with young adults before I even became a coach. And I think that once again, that just built up my confidence in terms of who I was and what I was meant to do.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, it's just so fun to go back and think about when I think about those early stages of this journey and how everything was just such a huge epiphany and an awakening.
I know.
My best friend back then, her name's Brooke, and as the years went by, she used to laugh, and she had this boyfriend at the time named Jerry. She goes, Jerry and I used to laugh because every time like we'd go out for dinner something, I was like, you guys, I had the craziest realization, or I had this epiphany. She goes, those are the two words you use constantly, because my mind was being blown all the time by just learning and growing.
I was just going to say those same two words. That's the thing about reading these types of books, is that it doesn't matter what the book is. And we're going to give some more examples. Just as inspiration, you don't necessarily have to read these exact books. You have to find the books that resonate with you, that speak to you, speak to your circumstance. And guess what? There's a little thing called Google that's going to help you with that, depending on what it is that you're searching for.
Or chat now.
Or chat GPT. That's definitely true.
Yeah.
So no, it's such a powerful thing, but I can just tell you that every book that I've read, you learn something and you grow. And then that fires off another signal to continue that journey and take that next step.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that.
And I will say, I have to admit that I went to college in my mid-20s, and the type of education I went to at the time was one of the very early like distance learning colleges, because I was modeling at the time and I couldn't just be at like a university. But I love that I chose this because it was all reading and writing essays. And those are two of my favorite things. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So I had to read so many books. So I love to actually read books. And then I will say I went through a little bit of a phase where, raising kids, and I got slightly away from reading a lot. But what I really found is audiobooks. And I love to read, and I have to admit, like, I've gotten a little bit addicted to listening, but I'm in the car often. My daughter goes to a school that's a half-hour round trip. So like an hour a day I'm in the car. The gym, when I'm cleaning, I have headphones in. So audiobooks are a great way. And there's certain authors, and I'm going to talk about Mel Robbins here in a minute, but she's one of them. And I wasn't super into Mel for a long time. for no particular reason. I honestly thought her voice was a little annoying at one time when I had heard her on somebody's podcast, but I'm so glad I gave her a chance because she has just become my old friend Mel.
Mel is amazing.
She's amazing.
She is top notch.
Her voice, when you listen to her audiobooks, it's like having a coach in your back pocket. Like, she brought me to tears so many times. She's heartfelt. She's hilarious. And I really resonate with a lot of her story. We've been through a lot of similar things. So audiobooks are a fantastic way. If you're listening and thinking, I know I never have time to read, audiobooks are incredible for that. So I'm on the topic of Mel. I might as well talk about the 2 books that I read this past year. So I discovered the Let Them theory, which I'm sure so many of you listening have probably heard. It was such a huge hit this past year.
Oh my gosh.
Millions and millions of people
Number
getting
one bestseller.
And number one bestseller and just crazy success. So good for Mel, and has really changed a lot of people's lives. And so I had to read it. I think I saw a clip of her on Good Morning America. Her and her daughter wrote that book together, and she started crying on the show, and I feel like I'm going to cry now just thinking, and she just gave me chills. I'm like, that day I got the book on audio and started listening to it, and it's beautiful. And so if you haven't read the Let Them theory, and I'm just going to really summarize these books today because I could take up hours talking about these books, but essentially, it's just what it sounds like. It's the let them theory. In other words, it's learning how to let go of the need to blame other people, the need to be right, the need to feel like if my life hadn't gone this way, I'd be able to do X, Y, and Z. And so essentially, the whole book is about getting your power back and recognizing that you are completely and utterly responsible for your life, that there is not another human being out there, situation, circumstance, or experience that can keep you from living your dreams, that can keep you from finding that true happiness that you desire, from finding love, from becoming more abundant financially or in health, whatever it is you want, it's possible. But what holds so many of us back is we blame other people. We blame the world around us. And we don't even know we're doing it. A lot of us might say, like, I don't blame other people, but when you really peel the layers back, you probably do. I still do sometimes. And the caveat to let them is let me. And so it's not just about letting go and letting other people off the hook. So you say let them, but then let me. And the let me is what can I do? And that's getting the power back. Where can I start making a difference in my own life? If I'm going to let them be who they are, what do I need to do to start making these things possible for myself? And so there's so much to it. She shares such incredible stories of her family, of her life, where this showed up for her. The book starts out by telling a story about it was her son's prom. And I was laughing because it's me. She's like, I was trying to make everything perfect, and I was micromanaging him and his friends and the whole situation.
God, that does sound like you.
They were all doing everything wrong in my mind, and it started raining, and they wouldn't do this, and they had made dinner reservations, and her daughter finally looked at her and said, Mom, let them. And she was like, what do you mean let them? I can't let them. And it just hit her. And she went home later that day and recognized that's what it's about. And so that's Mel's work. If you don't know Mel Robbins, she comes up with this theory. She's something in her personal life that probably happens, and then she goes and finds all the scientific data to back it up, and she talks to doctors and scientists to get underneath all of that. So that was an incredible book, and then I'll share her other one, and then I'll let you share, honey.
Okay, that sounds good.
So her second book that I learned about while listening to the Let Them theory, because like I said, I hadn't dove into Mel's work, is The High Five Habit. And see, just from that title, I used to think, oh my God, that's so cheesy. The High Five Habit. Come on. So I never gave it a chance. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Absolutely.
Quite literally. And so the High Five Habit, I actually liked even more.
No kidding.
Theory. I know. I don't even know if I've told you that. So the High Five Habit is all about learning to high five yourself in life, right? And so it literally is a practice that she promotes, that you go in the mirror every morning and you literally high five yourself. And so there's all this science that backs up that the fact of lifting your hand and high fiving yourself. So that part, I don't need a lot of science when it comes to things like that to believe something's true. It was the other part of the book that I loved, and that's just more of the results and outcome you get from reading this book. And it's just about self-love. It's about becoming completely, again, responsible for yourself and accepting yourself and letting go of self-judgment. And again, she shares some of the most beautiful stories, and she's so funny, and she's so authentic and real about how she's treated herself throughout the years, and beating herself up, and self-hatred and self-sabotage, and how this high five practice, this habit, changed everything for her and started changing the lives of like millions of people who followed her on Instagram and all of her social and things like that. So really amazing book, really changed everything for me. And she talks a lot about the law of attraction, really, really solid. I was at the gym on the elliptical at the end of the book, and I was just sobbing. That's what an impact it had on me. So 2 incredible Mel Robbins books. I've read one more of hers, which I won't get into, but those 2 this past year, you guys, really impacted how I view my family, my relationships with my extended family, Chris and our kids, my clients. I've coached so much around both of those books, and really impactful. And
as everybody gets to know you, and of course I know you, you'll understand like why a book or books like that would resonate with Erin. And I think that's important because the books that we read, the content that we consume, it becomes a part of us. It becomes a part of our identity. It influences us in ways that we don't fully even understand most of the time. And so when we have a chance like this to have a conversation and really focus on it and look at some of these different ingredients as Erin is talking about, like some of the highlights that really popped off of the page for her, you're learning about Erin. And that's what I love about this stuff, because you could say the same thing for the music we listen to and the movies we love and things like that. Yeah. And so that stuff really gets me happy and excited because it's all about identity.
Yeah.
You ready for one of mine?
Yes, please. Okay. I gotta stop talking.
So one of the most impactful books, it's a shorter book, but made a really big difference on me over the past handful of years, was the book Mindset by Carol Dweck. And so if you know a little bit about me, Erin a little bit too, I am huge on the effect that mindset can have on you and your potential and your identity and your ability to move forward in life and learn and grow and all of these really important things. And Carol Dweck does an amazing job of right out of the gate really helping people see the difference, understand the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And if you want to embrace personal development and go on a personal development journey, then you have to learn how to cultivate and develop a growth mindset. And as she explains, and she's got a real beautiful, simple process to kind of walk you through it, a growth mindset is just your truth that basically you can do anything that you want to. You want to become a doctor, you want to become an actor, you want to overcome a challenge, you want to change your circumstances, you want to move to a new country and do something incredible with your life, whatever it is, you can do that. And so she breaks down the process and the mindset to be able to make that a reality for yourself, like literally how to change your mindset. And she also talks about how we talk to ourselves, the language that we use on ourselves is literally what holds us back every single day. And that's something that, once again, we don't see, we don't notice, but we are the ones holding ourselves back, telling ourselves that we can't do something or that we shouldn't do something or that's too hard. It's impossible, which is going to get me to my next book here in a second. But that just opened me up to understanding that it's not always something external that is going to help us get to where we want to get to in life. And this is for parents, this is for young adults, this is for all of us. Yeah. But it's actually inside of us. We have everything that we need when we're more intentional about cultivating it, growing, and integrating in the things that we need to expand our mind and to be able to move forward.
It's so true. And I think about Chris and I are so immersed in this world of personal development and coaching, and sometimes we'll be talking about topics for this podcast or new content or things I want to coach on. And sometimes I find myself reaching for like bigger things or more complex strategies. And I stop when I heard you just saying that it's not about any of that. It's the simple little tiny, I think I said this in the last episode, life coaching and personal growth is not these huge leaps and bounds. It's the little tiny things we do every day. And I've been noticing very recently that even like I was exhausted this morning driving Skylar to school, and I just shifted my mindset. And I literally got energized. I got my mind on Christmas is coming and I'm getting to the gym and I'm doing this. And I just changed my thoughts really quickly and I shifted. And
all of a sudden.
Energy. And it was just that. And sometimes it's the simplest little shifts that make all the difference.
It's true.
Yeah.
It is definitely true. Actually, this is a related note, but one of my first mentors was a psychologist. And that was exactly what he said, is that the reason that we don't do things or we don't believe certain things is because our mind overcomplicates it.
Yeah.
Just makes it seem like there's just too much involved. And so the real answer to happiness is to make it as simple as possible.
It's true, and that's what life coaching is all about. It's just breaking down great big goals or big dreams or great big problems and chunking them down into very manageable, workable steps.
God, I love that so much.
Yeah.
It makes everything that feels impossible possible because you just have to figure out what that next little small step is.
Yeah.
What's your next book, babe?
So I'm going to share one more just for the sake of time.
Oh,
even then, again,
only one?
I could share like 30 or 40.
Oh.
Because I'm just focusing on a few I read this past year. So another one that I listened to actually is called It Begins With You. And it's from a woman named Jillian Turecki. And let me see what the subtitle is. So it begins with you, the 9 hard truths about love that will change your life.
Oh.
And I loved it because I obviously from the title, I knew immediately that it wasn't just about going out there and finding love, because I found the love of my life, but it's about you and falling in love with yourself first. And I'm such a huge proponent of that when it comes to parenting. I always tell parents it begins with you at home. You start and your kids will follow. And I believe that when it comes to finding love and in relationships. And so I've worked with women on this, that it really starts with you learning how to love yourself deeply and wholly and authentically. So that this book is a lot of different stories, and all the different 9 truths are the 9 chapters. And she's a coach as well, like a dating and love coach. So she shares a lot of case studies about her clients, but it's a very spiritual and holistic approach to really finding a meaningful relationship based on everything we help people do, honey, which is helping them learn how to understand who they truly are, their values and their passions and what's meaningful to them. And only then will you attract and find the right person for you. So I highly recommend this book to anybody who is looking for that next relationship, who has fallen maybe out of love with themselves and needs to get back to themselves, because it's very much about that as well. Or if it's I really thought a lot about my kids, like things I want to teach them about love and romance and relationship and self-love. So for parents, I think it's a great book to listen to or read to get some ideas and some perspective that you can pass on to your kids. I told my son already that when he's just a little bit older, I really want him to read this book. I think it's an absolute must before going out and getting on dating sites and searching externally for love. It's first about falling in love with yourself.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Awesome. Oh my goodness, this is going so great.
I know.
Right? Makes me feel good talking about these things. It makes me feel good knowing that parents are going to hopefully pick up some of these books or find books of their own and maybe develop that as a habit going into the new year.
Yes.
That would be amazing. For our young adults to actually pick up a book and actually read or listen to an audiobook, something positive that lifts them up and makes them feel good and helps them navigate, like we said, difficult times, or just help them see what some of the different potential and possibilities are.
Yeah, we have a whole resource page in our welcome module of our coaching course for young adults. It's all personal development books. Yeah. And we have a lot of really great books in there too about money and finances and how to have a great money mindset. And I didn't include one of those for this podcast.
We can't or couldn't include everything,
I know.
But that's a good point. And if anybody wants some more recommendations, or by the way, I have a book to get to here in a second.
Yeah.
But if any of you are listening to this and you have a recommendation, you can reach out to us too, and we'll make sure that you have a way to do that at the end of this podcast.
Love it.
Awesome.
What's your next book, honey?
So my next book it's actually one of my favorites. Came out a few years ago, and it is The Art of the Impossible by Steven Kotler. And so I have gone through many phases of my personal development journey, but when I first met Erin actually is when I first learned about flow and flow science. And it just knocked me over the head, and it lit me up, and it got me excited because it was the next level for me. And I'm always looking for that next thing or that level to challenge myself and the people that I'm coaching. But flow essentially is just this state where you feel amazing, you're doing amazing, you're showing up as your best self, you're getting just the most extraordinary results. And what I loved about flow is that the path to flow is focus, tremendously high level of focus. And that got me intrigued because this was a few years ago, and this is when distractions like technology and phone and social medias was really just starting to become more and more glaringly a huge problem for all of us. And I'm like, how can we help people focus? And Steven Kotler does an amazing job in the book of breaking down all of the ingredients that it takes, all the environmental ingredients, but also all of the intrinsic or internal ingredients that you need to bring them together in any given moment and design a process for yourself to get into flow. And I just love that. And so that's been integrated into our coaching since then because we want for people to feel good. We want for people to get better results. We want for them to really find their potential. And the truth is flow is the way to do that. It's the only way to really do that sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely love that book. I love that for parents because I want for parents to just remember who they are and what they're capable of and how you can create these moments in your day where you are able to focus on things that light you up, make you feel good, bring out your absolute best.
Yeah.
And we can help create that same environment for our kids as well. And once again, that's The Art of the Impossible by Steven Kotler.
I love that. And I think it's so important to intentionally practice being more focused. Like even for me, I'm starting to notice when I was reading in bed last night, and every other minute, my mind was like, oh, I got to check on something. And I kept going to grab my phone, and I had to battle with myself. I'm like, Erin, you're reading a book. Stop it.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine if we struggle, what our poor kids go through. It's just, we're in and that's a whole nother episode. I know it's a whole nother topic, but reading is such a great way to put everything aside and just focus in on something for a little while.
Yeah.
That gets you away from the technology and everything.
I have one last thought on that book too, because he talks a lot about intrinsic motivation, which actually was a recent podcast topic, and you can go back and listen to that. That was a really great one. But he talks about, I think, 5 ingredients for intrinsic motivation. And so I'm just going to let you know what these are.
Yeah.
So number 1 is curiosity. We talk a lot about curiosity. Number 2 is passion. You have to find that thing in your life that lights you up, that motivates you, that gets you out of bed in the morning, that just gets you feeling that way. Then it's purpose. You got to know what your purpose is. You have to know what your direction is so that you can really put your attention in that direction. Then it's autonomy, and this is a big one for young adults, is you have to feel like you are doing what you want to do for your reasons. And then finally, it's mastery, is that you are doing something that you're going to get better at, you're going to improve at, that you're going to give your absolute effort towards. And so those are just some of the ingredients he talks about. There's obviously other internal motivators as well, but that is such a powerful recipe for life.
It's amazing. This is making me want to go back and
read
some of the books I haven't read that you have, and
Same
just go
here.
back and read some of these books that just blew my mind like a long time
Well,
ago.
the kids are on break for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe we go to the library or the bookstore
I know.
and we get some new books, or we reread some of these books. Oh my gosh. So
Did you have any more?
No, I
Okay.
think that's good for now. I think the way that we'll do this, Erin, is that we're going to start to introduce, obviously we're going to do this as a series. And so what are we going to do next? Movies?
Yeah, I think we'll do movies next.
I can't wait for that
Yeah,
one.
that's Chris's favorite.
I can't wait to talk about Rocky and the impact that had on my life.
I'm serious. Yeah.
I'm actually very serious too.
Yeah.
But we're also, Erin and I do talk a lot about rituals. We believe reading is one of those habits or rituals that if you start to reintegrate that into your lifestyle, especially if it's part of your evening routine or a morning routine or a midday routine, it grounds you, man. Yeah. I know we talked a lot about today just making you feel good and opening up your mind and opening up your heart. It's true too, but it's also just a great ritual just for your overall well-being.
Yeah, and I just want to say, if you're listening to this, and because I know I'm thinking this right now, oh my God, I'd give anything if my kids would pick up a book. It's such a battle. It is for me too. So You're not alone. Just because I coach kids all the time doesn't mean my kids are open to all my suggestions. Just model it. I promise you. My daughter comes and sits in bed with Chris and I some evenings, and I'm reading, and she sees me reading.
They're paying attention.
My son, when he was a little bit younger and I still would drive him to school, I would turn on my audiobooks, and I could see he'd keep one headphone out because I think he was interested. So listen to those books while they're in the car. Too bad if they don't like it. Let them see you reading in the evenings or in your morning routine. That's the best thing we can do. And they might not take to it right this minute. I didn't read when I was a teenager. I'm going to be honest. I didn't start love reading till I found personal growth books, because that just blew my mind and I became addicted to them. But so I was probably in my early 20s when I really started to love reading.
I just smiled because when you were talking about River in the car, I was imagining Kendrick Lamar in one ear and then Mel Robbins in the other ear. And that balance or that duo just that made me giggle.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Oh, speaking of River, he got his first car yesterday.
Wow.
That's
a milestone.
It is.
We love milestones.
We love milestones. He was so proud, and he worked hard to save up for that car. So proud of my guy.
Kudos to River.
Yeah.
And hope everybody out there has some milestones to look forward to as well. Hope everybody is having a great holiday season.
Yeah, do some inventory. See where you are with your Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
Don't be like Chris and wait till Christmas Eve.
Or be like Chris and just be spontaneous and creative and fly by the seat of your pants.
I love you, honey.
Love you too.
All right, guys. Listen, have a great week.
Yes.
Make sure you tune in next week. We're going to have a special episode about starting to gear up and how to create some really impactful and influential goals for 2026.
Oh.
So excited.
All right, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys. Have a great week. We are so thankful for you and your beautiful family, and hope you found something inside today's episode that brought you hope, inspiration, and most importantly, a path forward. If you're interested in evolving your relationship, giving your kids the most important gift of personal growth and development, or are a mom looking to reconnect with your confidence and become empowered in all areas of your life, then schedule a discovery call with us today. Our mission is to help as many families as possible find their purpose, and that starts with you. See you in the next episode, my friends.